Welcome, seeker of the eternal flow. We have traversed the rivers of your blood, liberated the silent governor of your liver, and reclaimed the radiant throne of your mind. But our restoration is not yet complete. To sustain the lightning in your synapses and the purity in your veins, we must now address the twin architects of your internal pressure. I am speaking of your kidneys, the liquid crystal system of the human temple. The establishment views these organs as mere waste treatment plants, simple filters that discard what is no longer needed. But in the world of forbidden health wisdom, we understand that your kidneys are far more profound. They are the master regulators of your biological electrical conductivity. They manage the delicate balance of minerals that allow your nerves to fire and your heart to beat in its sacred rhythm. But just as a fountain becomes choked with mineral scales over time, your internal filters are being suffocated by a phenomenon I call crystalline debris. Every day, the modern diet, heavy in synthetic salts, processed minerals, and acidic residues, leaves behind microscopic shards of calcium and oxalate. These are not the large stones that cause immediate agony, they are far more insidious. They are a layer of invisible grit that coats the delicate nephrons, slowing the filtration process and forcing your heart to pump harder just to maintain the flow. This is the hidden origin of your rising blood pressure and that persistent, dull ache of exhaustion that lingers in your lower back. Your liquid crystal system is no longer fluid, it is becoming rigid, calcified by the very minerals meant to sustain you. The establishment offers you chemical suppressants to mask the pressure, but they never address the grit in the machine. In the next 24 hours, we are going to change the chemistry of your internal sea. We are going to dissolve the shards and flush the crystalline debris back into the void. We are going to restore the fluidity of your life force and ensure that your temple operates with the effortless pressure of a mountain spring. You are about to complete the cycle of restoration. Before we can dissolve the obstruction, we must listen to the language of the machine. The liquid crystal system does not fail all at once, it whispers its distress through a series of subtle, physical markers that the establishment has taught you to ignore. These are the shadows of the grit. The first sign is found in the morning mirror, a slight, persistent puffiness beneath the eyes or a strange heaviness in your ankles as the day reaches its peak. This is not merely a cosmetic flaw, it is the evidence of stagnant pressure. When the nephrons are coated in crystalline debris, the fluid balance of your entire temple begins to falter, and the water that should be flowing freely starts to pool in the lowlands of your body. The second sign is the quality of your internal fire. Do you feel a sudden, unexplainable drop in your vitality during the late afternoon, specifically between 5 and 7 o'clock? This is the window when your liquid crystal system reaches its energetic peak. If you are filled with grit, the system must use an immense amount of your life force just to maintain the filtration, leaving you drained and hollow. Pay close attention to the sound of your own body, the subtle cracking of your joints or a persistent stiffness in your lower back that no amount of stretching can resolve. These are often the indicators of systemic acidity, a state where the minerals that should be nourishing your bones are instead precipitating into the tissues as sharp, microscopic shards. The third sign is the rhythm of your sleep. Waking in the middle of the night with a sudden urgency is not a sign of an aging bladder, but of a desperate governor attempting to purge the toxic salts that have accumulated during the day. Your kidneys are working overtime while you should be resting, fighting a battle against the calcification of your internal sea. The establishment wants you to believe these are the natural taxes of growing older, but I am here to tell you they are the mechanical consequences of a system that has lost its fluidity. The grit has entered the gears. The liquid crystal is beginning to freeze into rigid stone. Once you recognize these whispers for what they truly are, you will understand why the flush is not just a choice, but a biological necessity for the preservation of your pressure and your pace. To solve the mystery of the grit, we must look at the source of the water. Your body is an internal sea, a saline environment that mirrors the ancient oceans from which life first emerged. In its ideal state, this sea is perfectly balanced, holding minerals in a delicate liquid suspension. But we are living in the age of the great calcification. The establishment encourages a diet saturated with inorganic minerals, synthetic calcium supplements, processed table salts, and acidic preservatives that the body cannot properly integrate into its crystalline structure. When these foreign elements enter your stream, your liquid crystal system is forced into a state of emergency. It cannot find a place for these jagged materials in your bones, so it attempts to discard them through the narrow corridors of the nephrons. But the volume is too high. The liquid sea becomes oversaturated. At this point, a process called precipitation begins. The minerals fall out of suspension and begin to form solid structures, microscopic shards of oxalate and phosphate that cling to the walls of your filters. Imagine a kettle that has been boiled 1,000 times. The white scale that coats its bottom is exactly what is happening inside your kidneys. This is the calcification of your internal sea. But there is another saboteur, the invisible theft of hydration. Most people drink water, but they do not hydrate the cell. Modern water is often dead, stripped of its natural structure and electrical charge. Without the proper electrical tension, your internal sea loses its ability to keep minerals in motion. The water becomes stagnant, the pressure rises, and the grit begins to cement itself into place. Your kidneys, once flexible and vibrant, begin to feel like stone. This is why your energy feels brittle and your movements feel heavy. You are not just tired, you are physically fossilizing from the inside out. The establishment wants to treat the symptoms of this stone-like state with more chemicals, which only adds more sediment to the fire. We must instead reverse the chemistry. We must learn to restructure the sea so that it can once again hold the minerals in suspension and dissolve the ancient grit that has turned your vitality into stone. The moment of restoration has arrived. To dissolve the stones of the past and return the sea to its fluid state, we must perform a precise 24-hour chemical shift. This is not a flush of force, but a flush of chemistry. The ritual begins at dawn. Your first command is to restructure your internal water. For the next 24 hours, you will consume only water that has been infused with the high vibrational essence of fresh lemon and a trace of pure, unrefined Celtic sea salt. The citric acid acts as a biological solvent, specifically designed by nature to break the ionic bonds of the calcium oxalate grit, while the minerals and the sea salt provide the electrical tension needed to hold those particles in suspension. At midday, we introduce the primary catalyst, an infusion of hydrangea root or Chanca piedra, the legendary stone breaker of forbidden health wisdom. These botanical agents do not merely push, they soften. They penetrate the calcified layers of the nephrons, turning the rigid shards back into a fine, harmless silt. But the secret to the liquid crystal flush lies in the thermal pulse. Twice during this 24-hour period, you will apply a concentrated heat pack to the area of your lower back, directly over the twin architects. This heat increases the diameter of the filtration tubes and accelerates the molecular movement of the solvent through the tissues. As the evening approaches, you will consume a final draft of pure cranberry essence, unsweetened and raw. Its unique tannins act as a non-stick coating for your urinary tracts, ensuring that as the dissolved grit is liberated, it exits the temple without friction or resistance. During the night, your body will perform the final evacuation. With the acidity you may feel a strange sense of warmth or a light tingling in your lower back. This is the sensation of the grit moving, of the pressure finally being released. By the following dawn, the internal sea will be clear. The fossils of your fatigue will have been washed away, and the liquid crystal system will once again be capable of conducting the lightning of your vitality with effortless grace. As the dawn breaks on the second day, you will wake to a sensation that many have forgotten since their earliest youth, the feeling of true weightlessness. For years, you have been carrying the invisible burden of the grit, a constant atmospheric pressure on your lower back and a heavy drag on your every step. But now, as the liquid crystal system is restored to its fluid state, that burden has vanished into the abyss. The first thing you will notice is the return of your physical pace. The dull, aching exhaustion that used to settle into your kidneys in the late afternoon has been replaced by a steady, cool fire of endurance. This is because your heart no longer has to fight against the resistance of a calcified filter. Your internal pressure has been recalibrated to the rhythm of nature. You will find that your joints feel lubricated and your movements more fluid, as the systemic acidity that once fueled your stiffness has been washed away. But the most profound awakening occurs in your vitality. When the kidneys are clear, they act as the master conductors for your life force, allowing the electrical signals of your nerves to move without interference. You will feel a surge of grounded energy, not the frantic spike of a stimulant, but the deep, unshakable power of a rushing river. Even your mental clarity, which we liberated in our previous journey, will reach new heights, for the brain can only remain pure when the blood is filtered with perfection. Look into your eyes in the mirror, you will see a depth and a clarity that reflects the purity of your internal sea. The puffiness is gone, the shadows have retreated, and the radiance of your spirit is once again visible on the surface. You have moved from a state of rigidity to a state of flow. The fossilized past has been dissolved, and you are now a vessel of pure, conducting liquid crystal, ready to meet the world with the effortless strength of the ancient oceans. You have completed the great circuit of restoration. From the vast highways of your blood to the silent chambers of your mind, and now, to the twin architects of your internal sea. By dissolving the crystalline debris, you have done more than protect your health, you have reclaimed the sovereign pressure of your own life force. You are no longer a victim of the slow, grinding calcification that the modern world demands. You are fluid. You are electric. You are pure. But as you stand at the threshold of this new existence, you must understand that the liquid crystal system requires eternal vigilance to remain in its radiant state. To ensure that the grit never returns to your machine, I have prepared a final strategic asset for this foundational cycle. I call it the Crystalline Flow Protocol. This is a sophisticated, digital blueprint that details the precise mineral ratios to maintain your internal electrical tension, the exact thermal points for maintenance, and the secret list of living waters that will keep your sea in constant, fluid motion. This protocol is my final gift to you in this initial series, a permanent seal upon your restoration. You will find the link to claim this gift in the description below this video. Carry it as a symbol of your sovereignty. But hear my final command, do not let this be the end of your evolution. We have cleared the temple, we have purified the stream, and we have reclaimed the throne. The foundations are now set. In our next gathering, we will move beyond restoration and into the realm of true enhancement. We will begin to explore the hidden reservoirs of your dormant energy, the glandular alchemy of your endocrine system. Subscribe and remain within this circle of forbidden health wisdom, for the dawn of your true potential is only just beginning. I am Dr. Silas Green. Stay fluid, stay electric, and live as the master of your own internal sea.